Good morning, everyone. Wonderful to see everybody here on this beautiful, bright day. A little warm outside, but that's okay. Maybe everybody is in here. So just a little something that just hit me within the last hour. It's really close, dear friend and friends. Actually, the husband or the dad of this family I've known since I was 14, and we went to high school together, and college we didn't really see each other, and then because our children ran track together, we kind of reconnected, and our friendship, families, have grown very, very close over the last couple of years. Anyway, I have, for those of you that have been at my house, I have this patio lights that I put up in the back of, or I, my son and I, stepfather did it the first time, but subsequently, my son and I, we worked together as this really, really great team. It's really a blessing because if you ever work with someone who you work so well together that there's very little communication, personal communication between the two of you, but you know what each other's thinking, you can anticipate each other's moves and going forward. So it was a really great time that we had together. So my friends said, okay, what can I do? What do you want me to do? And don't do anything. You're going to just really get in the way. So my son gets there and we spend pretty much the whole day doing it. And it turned out great. Now, I'm thinking, all right, well, this is, and of course, they're very, very pleased, they're happy with it, and it's just sort of, what do I owe you? Well, I said, you don't owe me anything, it's nothing, your friendship is enough. And I said, you know what, we'll just, we work for food, so it was food, so afterwards we ate, and we sat in this kitchen, and we talked and laughed, and so really this, I guess it's a little ministry that my son and I have going here, where we never really realized how we're blessing this family here, and they're receiving this, and all it cost them was really a couple of pieces of chicken cutlets, but it was a great time. It was a wonderful time. It was wonderful to be blessed ourselves to be able to show them God's love and what God has enabled us to do through this, I guess, this makeshift ministry. Really, it just came out of nowhere. So it was a wonderful time. So I just wanted to share that with you, and how God blessed me. I'm sure it blessed Brandon, and through him, through us, to be able to bless our friends. So our scripture is going to come out of 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 17. It reads, I know, my God, that you test the heart and are pleased with integrity. All these things have I given willingly and with honest intent. And now I have seen with joy how willingly serve you, to love you, to love you, to cherish you, cherish the relationship that has you in the deepening relationship described that has you more and more about you each and every day, Lord, because you're always there. You're always willing to share more and more of yourself for those who earnestly seek you, Lord. I just pray that heart
Hello, I'm Yolanda Merrill, and this is Mission World TV. In September of 2020, we introduced you to the Martinez family as they prepared to serve in Romania. And now, nearly 2 years later, Christian and Vanessa give us an inside look at how God continues to open doors in unique ways for them and their team to share the gospel and make disciples in a challenging time.
Hello from Romania. I'm here in the city of Brașov, where God has called our family to make disciples, plant churches, have an impact on the nations for the glory of God. I was praying for more opportunities to speak with people, and that was one of the prayers of our team, of our family, that we'll be able to be more connected with people here in the city. My wife was able to connect with some of her old friends, but also as we were praying for that, and maybe for an opportunity to be more here in the area of Brașov. On the other side, there was a coffee owner that was praying for people to work there in his business that would be Christians and would have some influence there. So we met him, and were able to connect with him, and so God was putting those two things together. And today I started to work a few hours there at the coffee shop, and so we went through some training, and just starting to build relationships there, and to see people regularly. That is our prayer, that we'll be connected here in the city as I learn the language, begin to build new relationships. So God has answered those prayers, and so we ask you to pray for those relationships, that they will be intentional and fruitful, that we're able to communicate the gospel with boldness and clearly. This is the local coffee shop where Sarah, who is a member of our team, and I get the opportunity to work. We serve here some coffees and have opportunities to meet clients, to work together with other people that are not Christians. Here we have a lot of conversations. We've been able to make friends and share the gospel with people that we work with. Also right here at this table, Sarah and I had the opportunity to meet a man named Marian, and he asked us questions about, during the Passover week, about the difference between the Orthodox traditions and the Baptist, and we really focused on sharing the gospel and how the sacrifice of Jesus is enough for our salvation, and there's nothing else to add to that. He has more questions. We've had more conversation with him. Also, there's another man that works here that I've been able to model to him how to share the testimony, personal testimony, share the gospel with people. We talked with another client called Mihai. He was right at this table, and he has a question of why I came to Romania. So I told him it was going to be a longer explanation of how God changed my priorities, and how He's now at the center of my life instead of myself being at the center of my life, and how all that has been changed by believing in the death and resurrection of Jesus. He also wants to continue that conversation. So we asked you to pray for this ministry here at the coffee shop, where we have opportunities to meet people. Also here at this table, every Wednesday we have been having a Bible study. So we meet with a group of both Christians and non-Christians, and we are equipping some of these Christians in evangelism and going through the Bible to see the promises of God, how Jesus is at the center of the story, and it's all about Him. And what is our role in that story. Also with non-Christians, we've been able to explain the gospel to them. So this is a great location where we've been able to meet every Wednesday. Upstairs, Kendra, who is another member of our team, she's leading the children's ministry. There are 6 children that come regularly, and she's been working with them, also explaining the gospel, the Bible stories, and and how they can trust in Jesus. So yeah, we're thankful for this, and please continue to pray for us. And during the Romanian Children's Day, we had the opportunity to set up some tables right at the center of the city of Brașov, outside of the coffee shop, and we were doing some face painting, some activities for the children, and we were able to meet some children and their families and have some new contacts and conversations. And what is really amazing about this is that our missionary team did not organize this. This was amazing because it was really the Romanian locals that we have been equipping in evangelism and disciple making. They're the ones that took the initiative to organize this event. So we're taking steps where we're equipping them. That they see themselves as responsible to make disciples in their city, and they are better equipped to do that. So we ask you to pray for these efforts to, not for us to do all the ministry, but we see our job to equip Romanian locals to do the work of the ministry, to be disciple makers, to equip the next pastors and leaders in the church, and people that are leaders within their own communities, and make the gospel of Jesus known by their words and their deeds. So thank you very much for praying for us, for being with us in this mission.
Join with us in praying for this team as they prepare to form a church and continue in their ministry efforts. To learn more about what God is doing in Romania and with our BMA missionaries around the world, you can go to missionworldnews.org. There you can sign up to receive weekly Mission World News articles delivered straight to your email. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Yolanda Merrill, and this is Mission World TV.
Six children that come regularly, and she's been working with them. Also, I explain the gospel, the Bible stories, and how they can trust in Jesus. So, yeah, we're thankful for this, and please continue to pray for us. And during the Romanian Children's Day, we had the opportunity to set up some tables right at the center of the city of Brașov, also the coffee shop, and we were doing some face painting, some activities for the children, and we were able to meet some children and their families, and have some context and conversations. And what is really amazing about this is that our missionary team did not organize this. This was amazing because it was really the Romanian locals that we have been in evangelism and disciple making. They're the ones that took the initiative to organize these events. So we're taking steps where we're equipping them, that they see themselves as responsible to make disciples in their city, and they are better equipped to do that. So we ask you to pray for these efforts to, not for us to do all the ministry, but we see our job to equip Romanian locals to do the work of the ministry, to be disciple makers, to equip the next pastors and leaders in the church, and people that are leaders within their own communities, and make the gospel of Jesus known by their words and their deeds. So thank you very much for praying for us, for being with us in this mission.
Join with us in praying for this team as they prepare to form a church and continue in their ministry efforts. To learn more about what God is doing in Romania and with our BMA missionaries around the world, you can go to missionworldnews.org. There you can sign up to receive weekly Mission World News articles delivered straight to your email. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Yolanda Merrill, and this is Mission World TV.
Christian, his parents were born again. And it's interesting that I see what's going on here because this morning, his dad was part of a thing called
father taught Christian when he was like 15 years old, so he planted the seed of doing church planting at an early age. He was born in Mexico to Christian parents. I just really like that. I was thinking about it because my dad's not saved. He's Catholic, and even that he struggles with. And I look at and see, wow, this guy had a great father, a great dad, and I'm praying today that would be what we see with Steve and Princess. And what happened, he wound up marrying the woman Vanessa, but they didn't get married until they couldn't be sure that Jesus Christ was the center of their lives. Specifically, had that in their relationship. So it's great to see that in Romania. He ran into Larry. Larry Barker was also a missionary in Romania too.
Bill, this guy, when he was in Mexico before he left, my daughter Kate had moved to Mexico, and I contacted him to, in case we needed him. And his father and him were just so nice, and they were like Christian people.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But then Kate moved to the Virgin Islands, but they did what they were supposed to do.
Right.
I just love this guy.
Yeah, you saw through the video, you might say, well, he's going along, there's a coffee shop, there's a coffee shop, what's the person?
I chasing our tails, scratching all our itches, thinking that we found answers. We're digging holes in the ground, filling wells, and just starving little people. God, if we would ever open up our hearts to you, trust you, you do something that you can do. Can we sing the chorus one more time? Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Speak what is true.
Let us come, let us worship, let us bow down, let us kneel to the Lord our God, our Maker. Lord, we do ask just now, as we just sang, that you would speak to us whatever particular part of your truth that you want us to focus on today. We need truth, Lord. We don't need our form of the truth, the way we manipulate truth, the way someone else has suggested to us what is true. We need pure, divine, heavenly, unadulterated truth. That's why we come, not only Sunday by Sunday, but we gather in groups, discipleship groups, and one-on-one groups, and we gather on Wednesdays, and we gather throughout the week with one another, and we open your word, and we say, as we just sang, God, would you speak to us from your word? Would you give us your truth? For Lord Jesus, you are the personification of truth. You walked the earth, and you illustrated and explained verbally truth. We read about those events in the Gospels, and the Apostle Paul continuing on in most of his writings, the rest of the New Testament. God, we have truth. Would you now, this morning, give us ears to understand truth? Would you give us a heart of comprehension? Would you give us enlightenment that it would click, the light would come on, and we would understand this is what God is saying. This is what that means. So as we just said, God, speak what is true. Open our ears, cause us to understand. Might we have courage and devotion, diligence, as we'll see this morning, to pursue and to obey. God bless. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Open your Bibles to the book of Proverbs. We're working through Proverbs these days. And by introduction, we're going to look at chapter 4, a brief passage in chapter 4, and then we'll jump through the rest of the book. Proverbs chapter 4 is what we begin. Well, these notes are in the bulletin for you. I've not added any additional ones for me, so we're doing this together. I want to get through this quickly but substantially, and still save some time for a meaningful time with Finn and his family. Proverbs chapter 4, start with me in verse 20. Just going to the Proverbs these days, and taking you back to the big introduction. The first 9 chapters of the book of Proverbs, the Old Testament, the first 9 chapters is one big introduction. And it's written in a different style than the rest of the book. From chapter 10 forward to the end of the book, it's these couplets, 2 lines, with the exception of the last 2 chapters. Still another exception, but from chapter 10 to say chapter 30, it's these 2-line, 2-phrase couplets. Almost all of them are set in contrast. This, but this, and this. some word of wisdom, some insight to life, what to do and why, what not to do and why. And most of it, chapter 10 to chapter 30, are these couplets. The first 9 chapters, we're going back to the introduction here this morning. First 9 chapters is telling you the value of wisdom. The value of wisdom. I want to remind you of that here, and then we'll get into that main section where ourselves are. So, in chapter 4, by way of introduction, start with me in verse 20. My son, be attentive to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Let them not escape, but keep them within your heart. I want you to catch, if not the words, at least the concept, the attitude of urgency, diligence, focus. This is important. Don't miss this, son. Don't miss this. This is critical stuff. This is life-saving stuff. And you hear that. Be attentive. Incline. Don't miss this. Don't let it escape. Keep it in your heart. Verse 1, 22. They are life. These words are life to those who find them. Healing to your flesh. Keep your heart with all vigilance. If you have another translation, I might use the word vigilant. It's fight to remember this. Get focused and go to war with yourself. The war's not with somebody else out there. It's within me. My life, my mind wants to be lazy and irresponsible and foolish and shallow and live for the moment. But there's this other part of me that says, you better get focused here. And you have to fight to hear that voice. Keep your heart with vigilance, because out of your, not your emotional heart, but the source of God speaking to your spirit would be the better word. For His Spirit bears witness with our spirit, begins to speak truth to us on that spiritual, internal, not emotional, but deep within level. That's the word part there in verse 23. That's where the spring, that's where life comes from. 24. Put away crooked speech, devious talk, and your eyes look directed forward. We don't want to miss anything. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. And our head is just snapping around. And oh my goodness, we don't want to miss anything. Someone takes a vacation. Oh, you have to go there. You just bought a car and you're making payments, but your neighbor got a nicer car. Oh, you need this car. It's just never enough. And we're being snapped around and it's bedazzled, and that's what advertising is all about. More, more, more. Let your eyes look directly forward. Let your gaze be straight before. Trying to listen to Jesus. Trying to follow Jesus. Value what He values. You better think about where you're going, verse 26. The decisions I've made, where have they taken me? Do I want to stay on this path? Or do I need to change my path? How have I been living? How have I been spending my money? How have I been thinking? What's been motivating me? You better ponder that. Think through. I need to make some changes, perhaps. Or maybe no doubt. Don't swerve to the right. Don't swerve to the left. You can be too liberal. And this may come as a shock to some of you. You can be too conservative. You can get out of balance either way. Don't swerve to the left. Don't swerve to the right. Turn your foot away from all kinds of evil. Evil here, evil over there. What does God's Word say? It's not about balance, but about truth. It's about truth. So it's just the call. Just keep remembering those first 9 chapters and review them often. and then get back into the Proverbs themselves. And we're jumping this morning to chapter 10. Go to chapter 10, and let's get going. A wise son makes a glad father, a foolish son is a sorrow to his mother. Now it looks like the whole responsibility lies on the child. But we're going to get some verses. We'll get it then. No, it's mostly about the parents. Because the child is pretty much, not 100%, but pretty much however the parents mold them. So why is that make the glad father? And really what's saying is the father says, oh, thank God we did a couple things right. Or the second line, oh, I'm so sorrowful, I have such grief. It's not what did we do wrong, I think I remember what we did wrong. And I've had moments of, okay, they're not going to get arrested. And then I've had those other moments of, oh yeah, they're going to jail. And some of this comes back on me. Huge parts. Not all of it, but much of that comes back on us. Now hear this whole section, just 5 verses here. Treasures gained by wickedness do not profit. Contrast righteousness delivers from death. You can get ahead for a while being crooked. You can cheat, lie, and scheme. You can do that. You can get ahead for a while. It'll work for a while. But be sure your sin will find you out. That's a verse. Yeah. Righteousness, well, that was a bitter. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry. How about that? I have to cheat. I'm not making enough. I don't have enough education. I don't have that skill. This is my job. I'm too old to change jobs. So we can't make this. We have to cheat. We have to lie. We have to steal. No, I love this verse. David said in the Psalms, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or God's children having to beg for bread. I love that verse. And verse 3 is saying that. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry. Now, you may not be living the desired lifestyle, but God will take care of his children. Amen. Yes. Verse 4 would suggest, unless you're just the victim of intentional cruelty, racial, social bias, with those exceptions, a slack hand is what causes poverty. Some people are impoverished as victims. Most people who are impoverished, it comes down to verse 4. A slack hand causes poverty. Yeah. I want you to be balanced and hear what I'm saying. Some people have been wrong clearly for racial, educational, or just you're an embarrassment to us, and we don't want to mess with you, and please go away. And if you won't, we'll put you somewhere where we don't have to confront you, or you can't deal with us. That still goes on. If you don't think it does, you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world. So that happens. And yet the biblical principle stands true that, with the exception of what I'm telling you that still goes on, the general principle of verse 4. Poverty is caused by sloth. A slack hand causes poverty. You may not be wealthy, but you can keep yourself at least out of poverty. The hand of the diligent, it's a different result. Look at the contrast in verse 4. He who gathers in the summer is a prudent son. He who sleeps in the harvest is a son who brings shame. He's probably saying the same thing over and over and over in very creative, poetic ways. The same principle comes up in the book of Thessalonians in the simply says this: if you don't work, you don't eat. Wow, that's in the Bible? Well, here's why. Because people were coming to faith, and then they found the answers to life, and they were getting some insight and some wisdom, and said, this is great. I love talking to the Apostle Paul, and I love talking to my pastor, and I love talking to the Christians. I'm just going to quit my job and hang out at the church and talk theology all day. Well, if you don't work, you're not going to eat. You're going to get a job. You got to get a job. So, just this general principle of diligence as not the synonym to righteousness. I know a lot of people have an amazing work ethic. They hate Jesus. They have to work ethic from culture, or they're just driven by greed. They have an amazing work ethic. How does it make you righteous? But I don't think you can be truly righteous without having a good work ethic. So the arrows don't go in both directions. Diligence doesn't make you righteous. But I think you're going to have a hard time being truly righteous without being diligent. I want you to catch how that works one way only. There's a connection between diligence and righteousness. They're not synonymous. But they are connected in the Scriptures. And I want you to see that here. Look at chapter 11. These first verses of chapter 11. We move now to, he's given you some more illustrations like in chapter 10, but well, I'll put it as we see it. You know the old phrase, fake it until you make it. I really detest that phrase. It is clearly unbiblical. And you'll see it in this passage. False balance is an abomination to the Lord, but in just means is right. To be honest, in your business meetings, you've all seen, at least the old ones, where you're buying meat or produce, peanuts, walnuts, there's this big tray, and it's held on a scale, and there's a scale above it. The more you put in it, the heavier it gets, and that's kind of how many pounds, and so much per pound, that's what you owe. But if the tray is above your eyesight, then the bottom of the tray, the owner could put, half a pound of lead. And when you put your stuff and set it to zero, although it's half a pound heavy, well, that's a false measuring weight. You see how you can deceive? Well, we have the capacity to deceive one another, and we think, that's how foolish we get, we're actually deceiving God. Like, God doesn't know when you're acting righteous and you really aren't. That kind of behavior is an abomination. It simply means God really hates that. Like, really hates that. He hates a lot of stuff, but he really hates that. This is why the Bible has nothing good to say about hypocrites. And the classic illustration of the Bible of the hypocrite is the New Testament Pharisee. They appeared to be holy, and clearly were not. In fact, they're the ones that insisted on crucifying Jesus. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. With the humble, there is wisdom. The integrity of their upright, that's what guides them. The crookedness is the treacherousness that destroys them. Riches do not profit the day of wrath. You can't buy yourself out of trouble. You might get a great lawyer, get less prison time than you thought. But you can't ultimately get yourself out of trouble. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight. The wicked falls by his own wickedness. Some things happen to us, but for the most part, we do it to ourselves. The righteousness of the upright delivers them. But the treacherous, they're taken captive by their own desires. That's why Grandma said, you made your bed, sleep in it. Well, you get the idea here. You get the principle. It's giving you more of the same. still on chapter 10, but there seems to be a shift, at least to me, a subtle but noticeable shift, starting in verse 24, still in chapter 11, let's get down to verse 24 of chapter 11, and he seems to me to be adding this principle. There was a hint of it about deception. Let me show you what I mean in verse 24. One gives freely, yet grows all the richer, another withholds what he should give, and only suffers want. So I think what's being said here is this. We all go to church, or we're at a civic event, and we're raising money for, and it's I don't want to sound like uncaring and sarcastic. It's a legitimate need, it's a sad story, and we want to help, and so it's a fundraiser. But there's always a fundraiser, and we said, man, oh man, $20, last week $20, this week every day it's a fundraiser. He said, well, that's what you know, someone give Dave $20. And we start thinking like this. And so we look like we're putting money, but I ain't putting no money in. But I want you to know that I'm not putting any money, because I want to be perceived as generous, but right now I ain't feeling so generous. So we love the part. What the Bible has a lot to say about that, right here in chapter 11, verse 24. One gives freely, and yet he doesn't give out. God blesses his generosity in ways that he could not have foreseen, and God takes care of the righteous. But those who appear to be righteous and they're not, they're deceptive. Look at the second line, verse 24. He withholds what he should. And he's got an extra $20 or whatever it is in his pocket, but somehow he loses it. It just goes, and now I'm still broke. The key is our attitude, but it's not just our attitude, it's how God blesses or withholds based on our attitude. More of that, 25. Who brings blessing will be enriched. On who waters will himself be watered. 26, we know. The people curse him who holds back rain. The blessing on him, not the one who gives it away, just let me buy it. I'm not afraid to take care of myself. I will take care of myself. I have a job, I have some money, but don't forbid me to buy it. Come on. I got to provide for my family, and you're trying to provide for your family. All through these passages, you're getting a sense of, yeah, work ethic matters to God. I don't want to over-theorize stuff, but get the big picture. Back up, and see the big panoramic view. And the very opening scene we get of God is this. God himself is working. In Genesis chapter 2, he makes the earth. He speaks, he structures it, he orders it. All of it's systematically arranged. And the last thing he made on day 6 was Adam and Eve, and he put them in the work, and put them in the garden, and he told them to take care or work. Now, it was beautiful. It was sinless. That is to say, there were no weeds to pull. I don't know what kind of work they had to do. Maybe they had to cut the grass, pick the fruits, feed the animals, feed yourselves. You've got this garden, tend the garden. He put them to work. He worked and made the garden. He put them in the garden and said, you work and till the garden. Provide, take care, whatever was involved. And then the Bible says that on the 7th day he, what does it say? He rested. And on the 7th day he rested because he had been working. God wants us to work. But we've taken it to a whole new crazy level. Work. More money. And if I can't make it by working, then I'll make it by some other which is usually at least unethical, maybe even illegal. But this verse is saying God will reward generosity. How about that? Let's finish this section of 28, start verse 28. Whoever trusts his riches will fall. Wow. I've set, I've made enough, I've invested well, I've hidden a lot from the government, and I can tax my brains out. We're set. We're good to go. We're set for life. I believe no one is set for life. Right. Will fall. The righteous, however, will flourish like a green leaf. It doesn't say the righteous will become stupid wealthy. But it does say you're not going to shrivel up and die. Your leaf will be green. There will be, at worst, that which is sufficient. Probably way more than just what's sufficient. So those of you that are active members of First Baptist Church, you see the annual report once a year of this meeting. You know what I make. You know how I live. I take vacations. We do frivolous things. I have more clothes in my closet than I can wear in probably 2 weeks, maybe 3. And I don't talk about one's closet. Don't go there. We're flourishing. Last line of verse 28. We're flourishing. 29. You trouble your own household, you inherit the wind. And ultimately, to behave foolishly, you wind up serving those who are wise of heart. These are the principles of life that God's given to us. These are the value systems, and look how diligence works its way into this kind of behavior. Diligence is not the same, it's not synonymous with being righteous, but the righteous are diligent. Don't miss this. And it's not just diligent in work ethic, it's diligent in seeking God's face. It's diligent in being other-centered, not just self-centered. So a number of illustrations about being generous and giving, and still I flourish. Did you remember the one proverb we read? There is one who gives and still has plenty. And then there's the other illustration, the guy who wants and has nothing. How does that happen? Because God has a way of blowing it away, but you won't give it away, but blessing you when you do give it. These are the principles of Scripture. Look at chapter 12. Look at chapter 12. Start in verse 24 again. Chapter 12, verse 24. The hand of the diligent will rule, while the slothful will put the forced labor. It's more benefits. Now, the ideal way to obey the biblical principles, to live by these proverbs, is that because God is all wise, and this is how God said to us, trust God. But even if you can't see the value of these proverbs because you've learned to trust in the wisdom of God, at least consider these proverbs in this way of life, because look at the benefits. Right. As if he's giving us an inducement. He's holding up this, here's the prize. You want the prize? Verse 24, the hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy, the slothful, you're going to have you're forced to labor. You're forced to labor. Anxiety and man start raising down, but a good word raises the bad. How does you jump from diligence to anxiety? little truck, car had a nice thing, and within 10 days' time, the transmission went below floor. Bang, bang! And I got stories how God came through. Amazing stories of how God provided. Amazing stories of how God has provided. It's these verses. It's this principle. Anxiety. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You don't think that came up in our house? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Anxiety will wear you down, but a good word. How do we take care of us? I would get crazy and I would say that to her. And then I would get crazy and she would say that to me. I was going to take care of us. I know. What are you going to do? I'm going to take care of us. We have stories. 26, we're back to the word righteous now, but look how it works. What is righteous is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wicked leads him astray. So it's not just what we learned in this most recent experience. And we got hundreds of those kinds of experiences over our not yet very long enough time. Hundreds of those encounters and stories. But it's not just us. Verse 26 says other people are watching you. Other people are watching you and you didn't know it. How do they raise their kids? How do they handle their money as much as we can see or hear, as much as they tell us? Look at their life. Here verse 26. As if our lifestyle becomes a witness. Long before we open our mouth. Long before we open our mouth, when someone asks us a question, how do you guys do that? And we begin to tell them about Jesus. Long before that happens, people are watching your life and our lives. One who is righteous is a guide to the neighbor. I watch them, I see them, and their kids, and husband and wife outside, and I don't hear yelling and screaming from the house. They seem to be smiling a lot. We're watching them. It's like a guide to us. It's an encouragement. Look at the second phrase. Look at the second phrase. The way of the wicked is leading them astray. Not just you, them. Well, they're doing it. They're doing it. Whatever it is for you. They do that. We were talking out in the yard across the fence, and he said, yeah, that's me too. Don't tell nobody. Whatever we're doing, if it's working well, you say, wow, that's encouraging. They seem to have it right. In their marriage, in their parenting, in their finances, and in their whatever it is. And then there's the other, how do you do it? Wow. Cheat this, lie about this, we stole this, we don't declare that. And, oh yeah, me too. What kind of witness? Not just I'm testifying to the grace of God in my life and eternal issues, but just my lifestyle. Right. What are the neighbors, or your children, or your cousins, or your in-laws? What were they learning from you? How to get over? Or how to stay within not the world's rules, although that applies, but God's rules, trusting God. The second phrase of verse 25 seems to imply that that's what takes the anxiety away. God's going to take care of us. 27. The slothful will not roast his own game. I'm so tired. I can't even cook it. The diligent will get precious wealth. Path of righteous is 28. Path of righteous leads to life. And that pathway there is no not eternal, please. We will all physically die. but those who know Christ shall be raised again to eternal life. Diligence is not the same as righteousness, but the righteous are diligent. Don't miss this. We teach our kids the Jim American way. Get a good education, so you get a good job. Because if you get a good job, you make a lot of money. It's all about making money. Especially if you take care of mom and dad and worship. The whole premise is built upon money and the benefits of money. Wisdom is saying, don't be lazy. Don't be lazy, but don't be greedy. Don't be lazy. Be diligent, but trust me. And I'll take your little, and I'll make it much. You don't have to make a lot on your own. Grab, cheat, gather, hide it, and don't let it get taxed, and you don't have to live like that. Be diligent, and I'll make your little become much. There's a great verse that says, little is much in the master's hand. That's the principle. That's the point. That's the piece of wisdom that Solomon is giving to his children and thereby to us in this passage. Still on chapter 13. Right back on. Chapter 13. Start in verse 4. The soul of the sluggard craves and yet gets nothing. If desire were the same as productivity, everybody would be super wealthy because we all desire. Man, I'd like to have that, I'd like to have that, I'd like to have that. That's in play. Chapter 13, verse 4. The sluggard craves, but the soul that's diligent is richly supplied. And we're living in a culture, and there's some preachers, by the way, who say this on TV. If you have enough faith, it's as if you can will it into reality. If you believe, you will receive. Oh, okay. And I know there's a couple verses that if you manipulate them, they sound like they're saying that. This verse is not saying, well, see, there you go, Pastor. That's why I only come to church on big ceremony. Because the Bible's full of contradiction. The Bible's not full of contradiction. The verse is saying the same thing. Some guys manipulate the verse to make you think it's saying something that you want to hear. And we would all like it if that were true, that I could just imagine something with enough energy and effort and consistency that would make it happen. I could watch TV all day long and just create stuff from my imagination. Ha! That's faith! No, that's faith. That's laziness. But it don't work. The soul of the sluggard craves is nothing. The soul of the diligent is richly supplied. The righteous hates falsehood, but the wicked brings shame and grace because falsehood is always God. Have you ever been on the job and someone said, look, I'm just a little busy? And God will say, no, be busy. Be busy. What a very unbiblical worldview when it comes to work ethic or lack thereof. It's about appearing to be busy without actually producing anything. Shuffling paper, pushing a broom, whatever white collar, blue collar work you got going, or maybe you got more than one job. It's not about appearing to be busy, it's actually being productive. Verse 6, righteousness will guard him who is raised. As if you're under attack, but God's got you. He will guard you. How about that? He will guard you. It's like Jesus is my union thread. Jesus had that. I'm good. I love this word serve and be other-centered. And let's be diligent about living a godly Christian life, knowing that in faith, when I live my life this way, God will bless me in ways that I can't even imagine. And I got a lifetime of stories of that very fact. That when I gave up doing it my way, the cheap way, the shallow way, the fleshly way, and I did it God's way, He opened the windows of heaven, as Malachi said. And I was weeping with joy and shame, not shame, but God, I don't deserve this. Why are you doing this to me? Let's finish up chapter 14. That's a word you don't hear us about that often. And 12, let's finish up. Thank God for Finn today. Chapter 14, verse 12. There's a way that seems right to man, but the end is the way of death. Does it make sense that cut the corners off? Cheap living. Not enough to get caught, but you know they tax you so much, they force us to cheat. You were that line, right? Yeah. That's verse 12, chapter 14, verse 12. It seems right, but it's going to be your ruin. It seems right, but it's not. The truth of the matter is, even after the heart may ache and the end of joy might bring some grief. You're laughing now. Looks like you're on top now. Hey, got the world out there. This is working. I found a system. I found a way. A little workaround. It's going to catch you. You're laughing now. But without righteousness, without knowing Christ, and applying His wisdom and His ways to my life, it's going to end in tears. Verse 13. 14, the backside of the heart will be filled with fruitless ways. Yeah, I tried that Jesus thing for a while. I went to church, my wife made me go, my mom and dad made me go. That ain't working for me. I ain't feeling it. Okay. Be sure your ways will find you out. Sooner or later. Yeah. Verse 14. The second phrase of 14, in contrast, we're living this time as application of good when we feel the individuals. You reap what you sow. You reap crookedness, you're going to get the consequence of crookedness. You reap diligence, you're going to get the consequence of diligence. Verse 14. Now, simple is an interesting word in Proverbs. You find these three words repeated all through the whole book. And it's three stages of foolishness. The simple would be like a little child who's clueless. The fool, he knows what he's doing, and he's still deceiving himself that it's going to work. And the whole book is telling you it's not going to work. But the fool keeps thinking it's going to. He's 18, he's 35. And then last of all, the worst degree, simple, the fool, and then the scorner. No, he's done. He's up to his neck. He's floating under. He's drowning in deceit. This is the only life he knows. He don't know how to do anything else other than a workaround, lie his way through, cheat his way through. It finishes up. This finishes up. Simple believes everything, but the prudent is full of death. The wise is rushing turn away, but the fool is reckless and careless. And you see the expression 17, he has a quick temper, he's foolish, he has evil devices, and people are to hate him. It's progressive. Simple, he's not delivered from his simplicity, his immaturity, to become a fool. And the fool is foolish. The foolish is he's behind all that stuff. And then he doesn't get delivered, and at that point, he becomes a corner,
good person. You didn't have a fool. But this winter, even God is done deeply with him. Wow. Wow. And you see it without the word, but you see the manifestation of it in verse 17. Good temper, still foolish, evil devices. Simple, we're not level. They're surrounded by power, like an inheritance. They see it everywhere, they kind of blows off, they take it in. Those who have some insight, some prudence. Prudence is not just a little bit of wisdom, it's how to apply that wisdom. Prudence, people with prudence, they're found with insight, knowledge. I know what I should do here. I know what to do. I discovered what to do. I was reading Proverbs. Just meditating on Proverbs. I spoke with all these Proverbs. I keep telling you today, the 17th, so we just have a number of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Tonight we go to bed, read Proverbs 17. Mark 18, Mark Proverbs 18. There's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. And on most months, you have the whole book. And if you'll make it your life's practice to read a proverb a day, a chapter a day, or the first one day a month, you will get some wisdom. Or you can skip all this and say, that's not how the world works. The world works, you got to play along, get along. Sometimes you got to change with the devil. I'm saying, no. It might be easier up front to live your life that way. But in the long run, it's not going to serve you. Like we saw a number of verses where it said, in the long run, it's going to crush you. It's going to crush you. This is your wisdom. This is the way of wisdom. And the world is getting increasingly crazy. I don't want to say we're getting crazy. And we need some wisdom. We need some real wisdom. And I'm asking us, the congregation, family, and friends, to say, here's the source of wisdom. How does God think, and how do we embrace His thinking to guide our lives? It's not as easy. I pray the prayer, hallowing me down to sleep. I pray, oh God, my sin will keep. I believe in Jesus. Hallelujah. I just got saved. No, come to the faith in Christ. Hold on, we're repeating some kind of recitation, not as sarcastic as I just portrayed it to be. Come to faith in Christ is embracing His way of life, His way of thinking wisdom, His values, eternity. Not living for the moment, but for eternity. That's Christian. That's wisdom. Okay. Let's sing, and then we'll proceed. Let's sing real quick. We're singing, what are we singing? A vessel of honor. What are we singing? A vessel of honor. I want to be a vessel of honor. To do that, I need wisdom. So,
Just a brief explanation. In the Old Testament, children born to Hebrew families, the son would be circumcised as a mark of identification. And then there would be, at the age of 13, for the male and the female, a ceremony bringing them into Hebrew adult life. So they were members of the community, members of the nation. And because they were the people of God by affiliation, that was their baptism, dedication, salvation. It was all represented in the birth act of the sons and that 13-year-old adult step for both males and females. But Jesus makes perfectly clear, in fact it's perfectly clear in the Old Testament, but most people missed it. Jesus makes it explicitly clear that no, you're not joining a people group. It's a kingdom. It's a kingdom. And it's not so much of the flesh, it's of the Spirit. And so this is what he says to Nicodemus. This is why you need to be born again. You've had a physical birth. And that made you, if you were Jewish, Jewish. But it didn't make you godly. You were surrounded by godly behavior, all the ceremonies, all the things that were pictures, types, illustrations of the Trinity and worship. But it was like an engagement ring. There's a connection, but you got to have your own personal connection to the living God. That's the wedding ring. Get it? So Jesus comes and says, no, it's spiritual birth. You must be born of the Spirit, not just of the flesh. And then in the spiritual kingdom, the equivalent would be baptism, not just for infants, but for adults. Anyone who's turned away from trusting themselves, and I'm turning to trusting Jesus. Now, I got some verses. Here's some verses, and then we'll pray. Okay? I'll get back to what I just said. I wrote these down so I didn't forget them. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. You need to know that. God has had his eye on Finn before these two even knew one another. Before she became pregnant. And then when she became pregnant, God had his eyes on Finn. Yeah, you. From the beginning of time. That is amazing to me, and oh, how much comfort and hope it gives me. Psalm 127, verse 3, children of the heritage of the Lord. I'm not trying to turn this into political speech, but this is why me personally, I'm really troubled with abortion. Your business is your business, but children of the heritage of God. Yeah. God gives life. Yeah. All kinds of people are enjoying marital intercourse, and pregnancy doesn't occur. It occurs when God gives it. Yeah. Children are heritage of the Lord. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior. Blessed if your quiver is full of them. I know that kind of serious. Oh, wait, what's he saying? What's he saying? Talk to God, see what he does. Finally, Ephesians 6. Children, this is you, brother. Obey your parents, because this is right. Yeah. Now, your parents aren't perfect. Maybe your mom. But it's right. God has put structures around us. Jesus was submissive to a corrupt government. Don't miss that. Jesus was submissive to a corrupt government. Because that's right. God's going to take care of us. Yeah, they killed Jesus. Look at the benefit that came out of that death. You and I can have eternal life. Children, obey your parents. This is right. Honor your father and your mother, Finn. Honor your father and your mother. That, by the way, is the first commandment of the 10. The one with promise. Do this so it will go well for you and your children. It'll go well for you and your children. And you'll have long life on the earth. Yeah. And then I love Ephesians 6, that's 1, 2, and 3. He throws this in, Steve. He throws this in. Fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath. The newer translations say, exasperate them. You're wearing your kids out, all you do is yell. Don't do it. I'm not saying let them get away with murder. But anger is not the solution. We all know that. If you were raised in an angry home, you know that. If you bring anger to your home, you better figure this out quick. Do not try to do this with anger. Do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the nurture. That's the atmospheric environment. We're calm around here. We talk civilly around here. We try to obey, and when we get in trouble, we talk it through. We don't yell and scream and punch and kick people out. Don't exasperate. Don't create hostility. We're peaceful people. Bring them up in the nurture and the admonition. To admonish. Just to encourage and even to rebuke, but not in a rage. Just to encourage. You're going to go to all kinds of games and sports and art shows and science, computer stuff. You're going to go to all that thing, and you're going to encourage, but you're going to admonish. Son, you can't do that. So that's just harmful for you. It's going to catch up to you. Son, it's dangerous. Don't do that. We exhort, we encourage, we admonish. We might even swat them on the lump. But we don't abuse.